Hello there, humans, hippies, earthlings, whoever you are, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, and if you're lucky enough indeed to be doing it too. I'm Bushka, welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to be talking about the IS-7. Now, I recently did a video on the joys of team tanking with the IS-4, and in that video I mentioned that I was going to be doing a video on this tank in particularly. The reason I didn't do it together was just, I thought the IS-7, after driving it again, it reminded me just how absolutely beastly this tank is. And how it's kind of slipped through the cracks. A lot of people forget just how brutally effective the IS-7 is. And how it was never like the most used heavy tank in Twister Cup by accident. It was an absolutely monstrous contributor to many, many fine teams. In fact, in the second video, you're going to see Gramixan from Team ID, who came second in the inaugural Twister Cup, rolling basically a strat that was based on the Iron Fist of the IS-7. And one of the things that the IS-7 does so well, apart from having a gun that will make you, cry tears of real sorrow and pain, is it's got this incredible turret, and you can just rely on it to bounce shots. Unless, like, the only way you're going to get penned on that turret is super high pen guns on either side of the mantlet, the cheek area there. Now, it's a tiny little mantlet, but there's just so much to be said for this tank as an assault tank and also as a legitimate super heavy. And I play it very, very aggressively in both these games, and then in all three of these games, actually. And it's not about the damage. It's not what I'm here for. I have a real belief that heavy tanks in particular should be about advancing the map and owning large parts of the map and providing resources to the lights, mediums, TDs, all that on their team. I.e., you can see there's a 62A here. He's played a pretty solid game. I'm going to take the brunt of the attack here, push down. I'm going to get stuck in, going to let the 62 check out behind me while I just create all kinds of unholy havoc and do a great job with it. And that's the IS-7. The face hugging, the 45 kilometers an hour to a choke point, the ridiculous side armor, the spaced armor that foils so many high pen guns, the super strong turret, they all go into a tank that needs to be driven at the front. And we just don't talk about the IS-7 anymore. It's acknowledged to be good, and it's just acknowledged. And I love driving it. I haven't driven it for so long, and I started driving IS-4 and IS-7 last week just to see, how it all went. And gee, they just dominate at tier 10. If you drive them as proper heavies, put them in positions where they hold a flank and they can go hull down. They don't even have to do damage in those hull down positions. I mean, obviously, it's nice if they do, but they create a sense of space for your team. They give your team a real sense of security on one flank and allows them just to focus on tanks on the other team that are in front of them, and they don't have to worry so much about the guys at the back. And that's what I like to do with this tank. And there's a mouse doing the right thing as well. Big ass mouse. Love a mouse. And I think the IS-7 doesn't get enough. It's so vanilla as a tank, isn't it? I mean, it doesn't look flash. It's guns average, to say the least. It's just like an upscaled IS-3, and yet, my God, I mean, it is so typically Russian, just brutally effective at what it does, without having any kind of waste in terms of everything, like if you've ever gone to Bovington and seen the Russian tanks, you'd know what I mean. They're so small. They really do, like the KV-1 and such, which are enormous tanks, by the way, the World War II, some of the World War II Russian tanks. But the KV-1 and such, compared to the Panther and the other tanks of their time, they just look so crude and rudimentary. And yet, there is a certain efficiency that is lovely about the way these Russian tanks work. It's ruthless, but it is very much a case in point that the IS-7 is so capable without really having been touched since release. Now, it was so strong back then, and it's not got any weaker. And it does exactly what is written on the packet. It goes very, very fast for a heavy, and it bounces a lot of shots hull down. And if you can put it into a situation where that is a good thing, then you can win a lot of games. I know Raikkonen has 70% something, my mate Raikkonen, win rate in this thing, and has been playing it for years. And all the boys in Premo that I used to run around with, I don't know if many of them even play anymore, there was always platoons of these things going on. And it's a great way to buff the win rate at tier 10, because it's such a vanilla tank, like it really is. But if you, I mean, the mediums are all flounce and fluff and doing this, that, and the other, and this thing just chugs on in and can make some great trades. Can also miss like that. It's got a gun that is horrific. You can see Gramixan. I don't realise it's Gramixan until he actually turns up in front of me here. This is actually a pretty close game, and I think we did fairly well here. You'll see we pushed up and we used the IS-7's armor profile to run that whole edge. And I'm going to take some hits here on the way through. I'm just going to keep reversing because I'm trying to get hull down. I don't want to poke that corner alone. And I realise that that's Gramixan there in a second. And I hit him for 629 with HE just above the drive wheel. I bet he loved that one. And then we're just creeping, trying to hold on while the rest of the team gets here. And that's something the tank does very well. We've got a couple of bounces. I mean, we're not going to get many, and I know Gramic's going to fill me up there. Not a lot I can do. So I just go low, take the tank that I can. And the Jaegeru says g'day there, and then it's just ripping on into the STB1. Really, really good tank. I'm going to show you one more game. That's why I'm stopping there, just to say, Graham, good game, amigo. He's a lovely bloke. They all were the guys from ID that I met. They were really, really lovely. Where are we? We're about to have a game on Desert Sands. Oasis Palms, rather. And the other thing I love about playing these heavy tanks at tier 10, like the really good heavies, like the proper heavies, I mean, there is no need for finesse. If you learn to angle, if you learn how to go hull down, and you learn how to look at a map and see where people are, then you can play the IS-7 or the IS-4 or the mouse. Like, you can do this. There's just, like, this mouse is doing the same thing I'm doing. I really admire him for it. He's going out. I've got APCR. If he was dealing with an IS-4 here, this would be a different kettle of fish, because I'd be running the calibrated shells and I'd have like 380 millimeters of heat pen. As it is, APCR versus a mouse in the IS-7 without calibrated shells anyway, because you don't get the 10%. This is not a fun time for me. And the mouse is like your nemesis, man. You don't want to be dealing with mices to pieces. But we do eventually get a few shots to fall on this bloke. Just not yet. He's doing a good job there too. Do you see that mouse? He's angling really nicely, and he's trying to hold the line for his team. And I'm just keeping up here, keeping him pinged and trying to not let him get good shots at me. He got one in on me already, which I fully deserved. Just going to let him try and bait a shot out on the side scrape. He knows better than that. He knows the side armor of the IS-7 is nothing to trifle with. Okay, he's fired. I get a free aim. Come on. You can do it. You can hit. It's only a little one, but it's a start. 328. Do I hear any extensions, any offers? Any bit higher on 328? We certainly hope to roll a little bit higher than that. Even when you miss your angle on your turret, I'll tell you who's got a lot of heat pen, is that Jaegeru. We mince another one in. That's 498. The Jaegeru goes straight through, and suddenly the poor old mouse is in a very, very tight spot. Now, that's one thing that the IS-7 does have as an advantage over the mouse. Its profile is so tremendously low that it is not very hard for it to stay low and only show this beautiful, beautiful turret here. And there is someone in spawn, obviously, still. You can see them back there. The TD's in spawn. They're all about it. And they've left these boys out here to fend for themselves. So there we go. Another one in there. And there's our spawn. I'd suggest that was the T95 or the 704. But either way, we're backing that up. We don't need any of that rubbish. There we go. 2,167 damage. I'm letting them all know. Attention. Sector 3. Attention, Sector 3. And one back there, someone says. So, hot diggity dog. We've got to go over here and see what's happening now. I would highly recommend this line. The IS-7 line, and people say that the IS-8 is a problem for them. And I find the IS-8 to be a magnificent tank. I think it could be one of those heavies that is just a little bit confusing because there is a huge difference as we spot the 704. There is a huge difference between the 9 and the 10. The IS-8, it flies, absolutely flies, and has crazy side armor that gets all kinds of bounces it doesn't deserve, and can go hull down and has a lovely gun, but at the same time, it's much more of a fragile flower than the IS-7 is. Well, what isn't? The super heavy lines like that can be a little bit confusing. The Germans, the tier 8 German heavy is pretty odd. The VK there, it's a bit weird. But the tier 9 and 10 German heavies, the Mouse and the 4502B, are very, very convincing. I just highly recommend you get a hold of this tank, and the line is a decent line to drive, and there's been buffs and such to various tanks in this line, and I assume there will be more buffs going forward because they were once upon a time the hallmark of excellence in terms of heavies. Driving a KV3, a T150, those kind of tanks dominated. So did the IS-3 for that matter. And things have changed a lot, but they haven't changed at the top of the tree. The Tier 10 IS-7 is a hell of a vehicle. And I'm just letting them know that the Jaeger is still in spawn. I'll let the world know that, just so that maybe he'd actually move, and he did. It wasn't because of me, it was because he got spotted. I don't understand why people... Anyway, that's another video. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Look after yourselves. Play it like the tip of the spear. It is a wonderful tank for an aggressive driver. And once you learn the spots on the map that are the choke points, like I was in just back there with that mouse, you can do all kinds of good things to bad people. Look after yourselves. Remember to subscribe to the channel, like the videos. That all helps. Thumbs up is a good thumbs up. And until next time, stay safe on the battlefield. Bye for now.